All eyes on Georgia's 13th congressional district. For almost 25 years, Congressman David Scott has represented the district, which is made up of 6 counties, among them DeKalb and Gwinnett. Now at 80 years old, serving his 12th term, a new revelation about his voting record has come from a challenger within Scott's own party, and it could shake up next year's midterm elections. Our Brian Unger is joining us live in the studio. And Brian, we both were saying this is really a sensitive conversation.
Indeed, because of his long record in Congress and service to his community. But Scott's age and reports of health issues about his fitness for office have dogged the congressman for a few years now. But now his re-election seems less assured.
The discovery made by Democratic State Representative Dr. Jasmine Clark and released in a statement reveals Congressman Scott did not vote in the last 6 mostly municipal elections. But Scott missed voting in the 2024 presidential election and our most recent election on November 4th.
To be clear, when we found out, it was one of those things where it was like, I really feel like this can't be true.
CBS News Atlanta, through an open records request to the Secretary of State's office, confirmed the most recent election Scott voted in was the primary election in May 2024, in which he voted absentee. That year, it appears that Scott did not vote for himself for re-election.
Voting is literally, to me, bare minimum of what we as elected officials are called to do when we are in public service.
Scott's congressional office referred us to his campaign office, which did not respond to our request for comment.
That's not good.
Voters in his district are concerned.
I think that David Scott did a good job. And it depends on how sharp he is.
I think it's time for a change, in all honesty. Enjoy your retirement. You're 80 years old.
Clark, who is running against Scott in the Democratic primary and hopes to unseat him in next year's midterm elections, is among a chorus of younger candidates calling for a new generation of leadership.
For some individual members, there are actual questions about whether or not they're healthy enough to serve in office.
Professor Andra Gillespie is a political scientist at Emory University.
We certainly see age being one dimension of younger activists and politicians, pointing out that the median age of Democratic leaders is relatively old, and that these 70 and 80-year-olds who are staying in office are making it much more difficult for those in their 30s, 40s, and 50s to even come onto the scene.
The person that represents our area did not vote in these very consequential elections that just happened, where we elected 2 Democrats to the Public Service Commission.
Defeating Scott in the midterms could be difficult. He is popular, and people in his district speak positively about his record.
Well, I like the ideas he has.
That's the thing.
That's just it. I don't like the new ideas.
And while raising the issue of age can be risky for candidates, it is becoming increasingly public at a time when the average age in the U.S. House of Representatives is almost 60.
And in particular, I think the larger question is whether or not the current leaders are actually actively taking part in mentoring younger leaders and grooming them for office and preparing them.
Preparing them, potentially, for a generational change.
I want to reiterate, Jovina, we did reach out to Congressman Scott's office several times. We did not get a comment from him that we desired. But this is amazing. If he does go back to Washington in November of 2026 and serve for his district, this would be his 13th term.
That's a long time. And also, I think this conversation about age and wellness, we've had these discussions before. You think back in California with Senator Dianne Feinstein. This is an ongoing conversation.
Increasingly, yes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Brian, thank you so much for that report.